Alrighty, I'm here with Mr. Dan, a friend of mine and an inventor, and this is our second video now, and we are going to do a recipe for sunflower brittle.
Yep, that's our plan. Hey, I'm Mr. Dan. So this is going to be made out of all healthy ingredients, and the most healthy part of it is the kind of sugar that we're choosing, and the sugar we're choosing is glucose. Glucose is a sugar that, regular table sugar is half glucose, which is good for you, and half fructose, which is a poison to you. And so what we do is that we get just the glucose. We buy the glucose in these big bags, and glucose has a lot of names. It has glucose, it has dextrose, it has simple sugar, and corn sugar, they call it. Now don't be afraid because it has corn sugar that, you know, it's made out of corn or something like that. This is just, the glucose is a molecule, just like water is a molecule. Okay, it's a molecule. There's no DNA in it. There's no corn. They can make this out of anything.
So what if you had a corn sensitivity, Dan?
No effect at all.
No.
It'd be like extracting water from, it'd be like distilling water from corn, and then can you drink that water? And the answer is yes, you can, because it's distilled water. It's not corn anymore.
And the key thing is there's no protein in it, so there's nothing to create an immune response.
Right, there's no protein whatsoever.
Got it.
Nothing at all. So what we're doing is we have a pan here, and we're putting it at kind of a medium-high heat.
Okay.
Down here.
Yep.
That's usually what we like to do. And what we do is that I like to always see if the pan's kind of warm enough to put stuff in. And so you just take a little bit of water. Here, just put it in here. And see if it's making little sprinkly sounds, which it is.
Clearly warm.
It's hot.
Okay.
When making candies, it's best to wear shoes and socks, or at least socks. I have my socks on, because if the melted glucose falls on your skin, it'll stick to your skin at 300 degrees, and that really, really hurts.
Got it.
So I'm going to go pour in about a cup or so, about a cup and a half, almost 2 cups. 2 cups of glucose into the pan. And then I'm going to put in a very, 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 very small amount of water.
Okay.
If you take a look here, it's just a tiny amount. You'll actually see when it goes in. It's just that much. That's it. And we're only putting that water in at all because it's a heat carrier, and it's going to move the heat around to melt the glucose. And then I'm going to get a nice utensil.
Okay.
It's important that if you use utensils that they handle high heat.
Okay.
This will be 300 degrees. And so if you have just regular sort of rubber, regular plastic sort of utensils, they'll melt.
So why is it so hot? Like it's just a...
Because here, let's take a look at it, what it looks like right now. This is the fun part.
Yeah.
So if you look at it, you can see that it looks kind of like, this looks like sugar.
Sure.
Right? Or like it looks like it's kind of snow a little bit. Let's just pretend it looks like snow. Because it kind of does. It's got the white color. Okay. Pretty soon, it's going to look like slush.
Okay.
Okay. If you've ever seen slushy snow, it's going to be slush.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's going to look like it's a clear liquid.
Okay.
It'll be completely clear. And when it's clear, why is it clear? It's clear because its crystal structure will be completely broken down and gone. And since there's no crystal structure, it'll now look clear. The reason that sugar looks, the glucose or table sugar, looks like the color looks white is that it's the light reflecting off of the crystal structure. But we're going to break down. Take a look at it now. You see it's getting kind of slushy already.
Yep, I see.
By the way, you see a little bubbly stuff here? Okay, that's the glucose bubbling.
Yes.
Okay, the water is already gone. That little bit of water we did, that evaporated off, and that was boiled off, moments ago.
And can you just tell us, where to get this stuff at? Where do you get glucose at? Or
and you get
dextrose or corn sugar?
Yeah, it has all those names again. And what you do is that, so fructose is terrible for your body. Regular table sugar is half fructose, so it's really bad for you. It's also bad for yeast. So if you're making beer, things like that, things that use yeast, you don't want to be using table sugar for that. And that's well known in the brewery industry. So what you do is you go to a brewery supply place and you ask them for dextrose, glucose, corn sugar. Those are all
They-
the different
they sell
names.
this there?
And they sell it there. It's about $1.25, $1.50 a pound. It's really cheap. I usually buy 5-pound bags of it.
And people are mostly using this for beer production at home. Is that
Because otherwise the yeast hate the fructose. They don't work well with it.
got it?
Just like you also. Fructose isn't good for you either, but we care about our yeast. We want our yeast to be,
Yes.
healthy.
Yeah. So I can't buy this at Whole Foods.
Some Whole Foods have it, but very few, and they charge a lot for it.
Got it.
Brewery supply places charge almost nothing because they're used to it. And now you can see we're starting to boil nicely.
Scared to get too close. I don't want to burn my hand there.
Yeah, there are just a few of them. So you can see that it's still a little bit of crystal structure, but it's starting to get a bit clear.
Okay.
And it's starting to bubble nicely. It almost looks like it's just sort of watery. Don't be tempted to try it with your finger.
No.
So we're gonna keep boiling this in effect
Okay.
until we see a small color change.
Okay.
Eventually, the color is going to change to a tiny amount of amber, just a little golden ambery color.
Okay.
And that means that we've reached. Take a look at it now. If you get close, you can see it's almost completely clear.
Yes.
Well, it's got bubbles,
Got it.
but you can see it's virtually clear.
Yep.
So it's really nice. It's going to turn a little bit ambery, and as soon as it does that, that means that we've reached approximately 306 degrees, because that's when the glucose starts to burn.
Okay.
That's its burn point. So as soon as we see it's just a little bit of color change, we don't see it yet, but as soon as we see a little bit of color change, we're going to turn the heat off.
Okay. Why not just pull it off right now?
Well, because if you pull it off too soon, then all of the crystal structure won't be broken down.
Okay.
And we really want all of it broken down. See, look how clear that looks now. You can kind of get a really good picture
Yeah,
of how
definitely.
clear that is.
Yep.
Remember how we started? It was, it was like that bag looked.
Yes.
And now it just looks like something totally innocent.
Innocent.
Yeah, I say that because I've got scars in my hands from
All right.
thinking how innocent that was.
And if you missed Dan's first video, Mr. Dan's first video, he has lost 30 pounds by removing fructose and gluten from his diet. So
Yep.
we're just getting a few ideas here.
I have a huge sweet tooth, so when I had to remove fructose from my diet, I mean, that was like table sugar, and I thought, oh man, I can't, I'm a sweet tooth. What am I going to do for candies? How am I going to survive without having fudge?
Yes.
So, and some people are like, well, just cut that out of your diet. But I thought, well, what if I simply reformulated fudge? What if I reformulated peanut brittle, sunflower brittle? What if I reformulated everything to use glucose? And then I started a multi-year experimentation on doing that, because glucose is very different than table sugar on how you make candies. It's very, very different. But the difference is really, really good. Candy with regular table sugar is a lot of work. It takes several hours to make candy, and you have to have a candy thermometer. You got to do all this stuff. It's really, really difficult.
Okay.
And people mess it up all the time. But this is simple, simple, simple. Well, it's simple
Very
now
good.
after a bunch of stuff. So we're getting close here. We are getting really, really close.
We got a medium heat, right? We could put this thing up in heat, but we just take a risk of burning it too much.
Yeah, because what will happen if the heat's too full? What will happen is that we won't catch it in time.
Okay.
It'll slightly change its color, and we're not going to catch it. Now, if you look here, it's kind of tricky. You may have to go on the other side of me to see this, but you'll see right down here. You can see there's a slight color change here. It's very slight. I don't know if you can see that. There's a very slight along the edges here. It's just a little bit slight. Okay, and that's enough. As soon as you think I might have seen it,
That's on the edge.
then you're done. Yeah. As soon as you think, gee, I think it might be a slight color change, you turn off the heat, which I just did.
Okay.
All right. So now our heat's off.
Okay.
So now we're going to add other ingredients, but we don't add them right away because a lot of ingredients will not like 300 degrees happening to them.
Yes.
So an example is if I were to add butter to this right now, the butter would simply burn. It'd be totally burned butter. I'd end up with butterscotch, which might be what I want. Maybe I want a butterscotch flavor.
Okay.
Okay, maybe I do want that, and I don't in this case. So, and now if you look now, you can see there'd be much more pronounced golden color along the edges.
Yes.
See, it's much more golden.
Especially on that right corner.
Yeah. So there you go. That just means we did it exactly perfect.
Okay.
So we're pretty happy about that.
Got it.
And now it's deepening its color. So we'll put a little bit of salt in. Normally I'd put quite a bit of salt in because salt works really well when you're using sweet stuff. But
Okay.
these sunflower seeds, we have these sprouted ones. These say ingredients are sprouted organic sunflower seeds. Spouted's better because you digest them better.
Yep.
And it also has some sea salt in it.
Okay.
So I don't want to end up with too much salt on top of my salt. So I'm not going to salt this very much.
And Mr.
Salt, by the way, doesn't burn from, salt's not going to burn from 300 degrees.
Okay.
Salt burns at super high temperature.
And Mr. Dan was going to make peanut brittle or any other kind of brittle, but given many people are on my 28-day program now, we're avoiding nuts for this particular elimination diet, I had them choose sunflower seeds. Sunflower seeds are really not used that much in things, but you're seeing more and more products come out with them just because there are so many nut allergies. And a good example of that is sunflower butter. So
Now
love
if you look,
sunflower
you see, it's quite the deep. It's quite a deep amber color now.
yes, definitely a different color now.
So we turned it off exactly at the right time.
Okay,
It's like
okay.
a perfect run. All right, so it's cooled down probably to about 260, 270 degrees. I do actually have a special remote thermometer where I can just point it at it and get the temperature.
Point it?
Yeah, it's a remote sensor, which is nice.
Did you make that?
No, not about that. So now we're going to put some, probably about a half a teaspoon of vanilla.
Okay.
About that. A little bit more. Put about a teaspoon in.
Teaspoon of vanilla.
Vanilla extract.
Okay.
And that's just, vanilla's a nice. You'll see it bubble up. That's the reaction.
Staying away.
Yeah, so you see it bubbling up.
Okay.
Again, normally when I'm making foods, I always sample some, but you don't want to do
Yes.
that because if I were to do this, I'd have a permanent scar on my finger.
Wow.
That'd be very bad.
Did you figure that out the hard way? Or
Yeah, I have other scars
Yeah,
from other experiments.
So it's dangerous being fructose free, is what you're saying?
No, it's just that candy is.
Your liver's good, but
Candy's hot.
your hands are destroyed.
All right, so now we're going to do sunflower seeds. And the question is, do we want to have just a kind of some sunflower seeds, or do we want to have a lot of sunflower seeds? And I think we'll just do a medium number of them, maybe. Depends how sunflower seedy you want it. Do you want to have a strong sunflower taste, or do you want to have a medium? And I think we're just going to do a medium.
I haven't had peanut brittle in a very long time. That smells really good, though.
So these will be a little bit not chewy exactly, but it'll be this will be a good flavor. And of course, if you want to make chocolate brittle, you just add unsweetened cocoa, whatever. And we're done here.
Have you made that before?
Yes, I have done the chocolate. Yeah, I did that
How's
too.
that?
Tasted really nice. It was a nice flavor.
You're a chocolate guy, though,
I'm a
right?
chocolate guy, so I like it. Now this is parchment paper.
Okay.
This is not wax paper. Wax paper is useless when you're making these kinds of things because as soon as this as soon as our mixture touches wax paper, the wax disappears because it's so hot. It's 300 degrees, right? Or 250 by the time it touches it. So parchment paper is the way to go. This stuff will not stick to parchment paper. We tried all kinds of different ways to spread out the brittle, and this was the best. We make a nice large sheet of it, so we can dump this in the middle of it, which we're doing. Here. Again, notice how fast it was to make this whole thing.
Yes.
It's a very fast
We're
process.
at 13 minutes on the video right now.
Okay, great. And now, so we have it here. I'm just going to spread it out a little bit.
Okay. It doesn't look like much, honestly, looking at it. So it's gonna. You're gonna put this in the freezer, right?
Yeah, put this in after it cools enough. If we put it in the freezer now, it would start melting everything in the freezer because it's so hot. So we're going to wait till it cools a little bit, and then we'll put it in the freezer. Again, you can put it in the refrigerator, but I don't like to wait so long.
Sure.
There we go. And see how tempting it is just to try some, but you don't. All right. So here we go. Here's our pan.
Yes.
Now, what's also nice with glucose is the cleanup. All you have to do to clean up glucose is you put water in the pan.
Okay.
So. Going to fill this up. You wait 45 minutes.
45 minutes? Okay.
Yeah, 45 minutes approximately.
My type of cleanup.
And
Let
then
it
you
sit.
just pour it out and you're done.
Very nice.
There's no scrubbing, nothing.
Okay. I like that. I could just leave the pan for my wife and she can clean it up later.
Yeah, there's nothing. You literally just pour it out.
Nice.
You know, where normally when you're making this kind of stuff, you have to scrub the pans, you have to do all this stuff. It's also sticky and gooey and really hard. Yeah. That's it. We're done. That's
all right.
That's all we're gonna do.
So this is our end product. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the freezer
Yeah, for a little
Just
bit.
like this.
But we'll wait a little bit because this will be.
Oh, I mean,
so we'll have to,
how long are you gonna wait for this?
This will have to be a good 10 minutes before we have to.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then how long we need to put in the freezer for?
Just until it's hard as rock.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Dan, for your work. And then, so when this gets out of the freezer, we're going to then cut it in slices and have it as you like. Oh, you just break it apart,
Actually,
right?
we're going to crack it.
Crack it. Okay.
Crack it.
I haven't had peanut brittle in a long time.
It's
Actually,
very fun to crack. What
yeah,
you do is
I don't think I've ever seen peanut brittle made.
Originally, I was trying to cut it and things like that, but it turns out better is you just wallop it with something and it shatters.
All right.
Just like glass.
That was my question. Okay. So thanks, Mr. Dan. We look forward to trying it, and we appreciate all your knowledge. Thanks.
Great.